Hi, my name is Ashley and I'm a mom of 2 little girls. I have a 4-year-old named Kylie and I also have a 2-year-old named Mia. Now, I have been in the thick of homeschooling my older daughter this year, lots of language learning going on, and one of the most common language learning materials that you'll find in a Montessori environment are something called 3-part cards. And when I first began, I did not realize that there were so many different ways to use them, and I thought it would be fun to share that with you guys today. So from one busy parent to another, today I would like to share with you 8 different ways that you can use Montessori 3-part cards. All right, so before we jump into it, I want to take just a moment to share with you a little bit about Monte Kids, the sponsor of today's video. The award-winning Monte Kids program helps families support their baby during the most critical years of development by delivering boxes of developmentally appropriate, authentic Montessori toys every 3 months between birth and age 3. Monte Kids also provides support for parents with personalized coaching from child development experts, parent learning courses, and access to an exclusive online community of Monte Kids families. Monte Kids also recently launched their brand new Montessori kits, which are designed to help support parents during key moments in their parenting journey, namely bonding with a new baby, the often anxiety-inducing task of potty training, creating healthy eating habits and enjoyable family meal times, and establishing positive daily routines. The Montessori Newborn Kit offers thoughtfully designed, developmentally appropriate toys and support for parents in those very early days, just after baby is born. There's also the Montessori Toilet Learning Kit, which is designed to help in the transition from diapers to toilet independence, all in the Montessori way. The Montessori Cooking Together Kit encourages little ones to build skills and confidence in the kitchen as they develop healthy habits. And finally, the Montessori Self-Care Station gives children the perfect place to practice developing their daily routines with a convenient all-in-one design featuring a child-sized mirror, shelf, and peg hooks. For some families, it can be really difficult to find the time and energy to source all of the different materials that you need in order to support your child during some of these key stages of their life. And the Monte Kids Montessori kits make it super easy for you because everything is packaged together and ready to go. All Monte Kids materials are designed by Montessori educators, so you can rest assured that you're providing your child with the best developmental products during their formative years. If you are interested in learning more about the Monte Kids program or any of their new Montessori kits, then you'll find all of the links that you need in the description box down below. And now let's get started talking all about Montessori 3-part cards. Now, you may have also heard of 3-part cards being referred to as nomenclature cards, and there's a really good reason for this. It comes from the Latin word nomenclatura, which means assigning names, and that's exactly what 3-part cards are designed to do. They're designed to help children learn the names of things. So what exactly do 3-part cards look like? Well, as their name implies, they have 3 parts to them. There is the control card, or sometimes called the whole card, which has both a picture and a label, and then there's a picture card only and a label card only. Now, as I said, there are a bunch of different ways that you can use 3-part cards. Honestly, probably so many that I wouldn't be able to fit them all into one video because the video would just be way too long. So instead, what I did for you was I selected 8 different ways that you could use them that I thought were some of the more common ways that you should know about, as well as a couple of more fun ways that maybe are a little bit less well known. So let's go ahead and dive in. The first one is to use your 3-part cards as part of a standard 3-period lesson. So you'll begin by placing 3 different cards from the set in front of your child. Period 1 is the naming period. So you're simply going to introduce the vocabulary to your child by pointing to each card in turn and telling your child what the name is, very slowly and clearly. You may even choose to repeat it a couple of times. Maybe your child wants to repeat the name after you, but you want to do this a couple of times until you feel like your child has a pretty solid understanding of what the vocabulary is. Once you've reached that point, you can move on to period 2, which is the association period. This is where you're going to ask your child to show you that they know the different vocabulary words by pointing to them, by handing one to you, by putting one in a basket, by placing one on top of the other, by putting one on their head. There are a lot of different ways that you can ask your child to demonstrate their understanding to keep it fun and interesting. This is a period that you'll want to spend a little bit of extra time in to give your child lots of opportunities for practice. Once you feel confident that your child knows the words, then you may move on to period 3, where you're actually going to ask your child, what is this? It's the testing, the assessment phase. So you'll point to one of the cards and say, what is this? And at that point, your child should successfully be able to tell you what the name of the card is independently. Again, you really want to try to avoid moving into period 3 before your child is ready. You want to be confident that they're going to succeed once you do. Now, if you make the mistake of moving in too soon and you find that they're making mistakes and they aren't able to tell you the names of the cards by themselves, then it's as simple as backing up to period 2 and starting from there again. And if at any point you find that your child does make a mistake, there's no need to be super harsh or overt in your correction where you're really drawing attention to it and making them feel bad about their mistake in some way. Like, for example, if you said, no, that's not it, it's actually this one. You know, that word no, it just carries a very negative, disempowering feeling for children. Instead, you can handle the situation differently. For example, in period 2, if you were to ask your child to show you the dog card, and instead they point to the cat card, all you would need to say is, thank you for showing me the cat. Can you show me the dog? And then give them another opportunity to try again. Another easy way to use 3-part cards is as a simple matching activity, specifically for children who are not yet reading. So for this activity, you'll begin by laying out all the control cards in vertical columns. Then, depending on your child's age, you can have them do one of two things. You can have them match the picture-only cards to the control cards by themselves, or you can have your child match the picture cards and then match the label cards. Now, a child who isn't yet reading is not going to be able to read the label and match it as a reader would. But what they can do is identify the letters that perhaps they do recognize, or the length of the word, or the general shape of the word, maybe just a beginning and an ending letter. Anything that can help them, any clues they can use to match the labels, they are allowed to do so. And even then, it's still practice for reading. The next activity is for children who are able to read the labels. It is matching labels to pictures. This is the most common way that you can use nomenclature cards, and your child will begin by laying out all of the picture-only cards. Once they've done that, they'll go to the labels pile and they'll pick a label, read it, and match it to the appropriate corresponding picture card. Once they've matched all the pictures and labels, they'll use their set of control cards, match them up to what they have done on their work surface, and visually compare to see if they've matched them correctly. Another variation of this is to match the pictures to the label cards. So your child will actually start by laying out all of the label-only cards across their work surface. They will then select a picture card from their pile, read each of the labels until they've found the corresponding match, and place it next to the label. Once they have matched all of the pictures to the correct labels, as before, they will then use their control cards to line them up, visually compare, check their work, and make sure that everything was matched correctly. Another activity to try is identifying beginning sounds using the picture-only cards. So for this one, your child will start by laying out all of the picture-only cards. They will then use a movable alphabet to sound out the beginning sound of each of the pictures and place the appropriate movable alphabet letter next to the picture. Once they're finished doing this for all the pictures in the set, then they can use their control cards to check their work. And do know that for each of the activities that I just shared with you, sometimes children prefer to check their work as they're going instead of waiting until they're done with the whole set and then checking it at the end. It is totally a personal preference for each child, and there's no one right or wrong way to do it. So for example, if your child is matching pictures and labels together, instead of doing all of them and then checking all the control cards at once, they may prefer to just do one picture, one label, and then find the control card and check it before they move on to the next one. And that's totally okay. The next activity is to use both the picture cards and the control cards as a memory game. So for this one, you'll set the cards up just like you would a standard memory game by laying them all face down in a grid. And then you and your child or any other children that may be playing the game with you can take turns flipping one card and another to see if they've found a match. If they do happen to find two matching pictures, then they get to keep that set and have another turn. If they are incorrect, then they will turn them back face down again, and then the next player will take their turn until all the cards have been matched. The next activity to try is the What's Missing game. So for this one, you'll need to use either the picture-only cards or the control cards, but you'll select 3 of them and lay them out in front of your child. Go over each one in turn, making sure your child is familiar with the names of each of them, and then ask your child to close their eyes while you remove one of them. have your child open their eyes, and then they have to tell you which of the cards is missing. From there, you can add another card back in from the set that has not been used yet and keep playing the game for as long as your child is interested. If you're getting the feeling that 3 cards is too easy for your child, then you can certainly add 4 or 5 different cards at a time and increase the challenge level that way. And finally, the 8th way to use 3-part cards is as a mystery bag. So for this one, you're actually going to need a set of real objects or figurines that match the cards that you're using. You'll start out by placing all of the objects into your mystery bag such that your child can't see them at all. You'll then invite your child to place their hand into the bag and select one object. From there, they can either guess what it is before they pull it out, or they can pull it out and identify what it is, depending on what they're ready for. You can then invite them to match it to either the picture only or the control card with the picture on it. Or if they are reading, you can have them match the object to the label only card and then use the control card to check their work. All right, friends, so those are 8 different ways that you can use Montessori 3-part cards at home with your child. As I said earlier, there are a bunch of different ways. I'm sure there are many that you can think of that were not mentioned in this video. So if you've got some ideas, definitely share those with us in the comments down below. If you are interested in learning more about Montessori at home or positive discipline parenting, I offer a couple of e-courses that walk you through it step by step. So I'll be sure to leave a link to that in the description box down below. And just in case you're new to my channel, I also wanted to let you know that this video is part of a much larger series on this YouTube channel called Montessori at Home, which is aimed at providing practical tips and advice for busy parents like you and I for implementing Montessori at home with our children. So if that sounds like something that you're interested in watching more of, then you might consider subscribing to my channel. This way you don't miss a new video, because I do upload a new one just like this one every single week. Thank you so much for watching today, and I'll see you next time. Bye.